An emotional moment. As they walked down the bleak corridor and into the tiny cell. It was here that Mr. Mandela spent 18 of his 27 years as a prisoner. Long, lonely, wasted years, Mr. Mandela has called them. Today, President Clinton stared out from the cell into the prison courtyard, where the South African leader had kept his dreams of a free South Africa alive. While a convict here, Mr. Mandela was forced to work, breaking stones. Now the prison's a museum celebrating the country's transition to democracy. Earlier, President Clinton echoed the famous Winds of Change speech by Harold Macmillan in 1960.
Mr. President, for centuries, the winds that blow around the Cape of Good Hope have been known for strength and danger. Today, the winds blowing through Cape Town and South Africa, and indeed much of this continent, are winds of change and good fortune.
While on Robben Island, President Clinton said he thanked God that such a spell in prison had not turned Mr. Mandela's heart to stone. The Americans have said that South Africa is a symbol to the whole world, an example of reconciliation, overcoming decades of conflict. Robert Moore, News at 10.
Still to come on News at 10 tonight, Lord Irvine in a new row over altering of the Australian Grand Prix. David Coulthard allowed his McLaren teammate Mika Häkkinen to overtake him and win. Today, the head of Formula One, Bernie Ecclestone, called those McLaren tactics disgusting and unnecessary. He was speaking during practice for this weekend's Grand Prix in Brazil. For tonight's special report, ITN's Norman Rees has been finding out why such tactics matter in the big money world of motor racing.
It was Australia all over again today as McLaren Mercedes dominated in practice for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Once more it was a McLaren 1-2 as Häkkinen and Coulthard vied for pole position. But today controversy switched away from the drivers to the cars. Ferrari complained that a new braking system used by McLaren in Melbourne and now adopted by Williams and Jordan broke the rules. Earlier, Jordan told ITN they agreed the braking system might be illegal, but if McLaren had it, they should too.
Best analogy that I could think of perhaps is a toboggan. You're going down a hill, you don't have a steering wheel, and if you pull the brake on the left-hand side, well, of course, it will turn to the left and the right. It's another form of steering, if you like.
Is it legal?
You know, I really don't want to sound like sour grapes in this issue, but quite clearly, the way we've read them, we can't see how it does comply with the rule book.
And McLaren's blatant race fixing in Australia is still under scrutiny. When Häkkinen beat Coulthard to the first bend, the race was virtually over. Häkkinen dropped a second after two confusions in the pit lane, but under their secret deal, Coulthard still slowed down to let him through and take the flag.
We sat down and we worked through all the various scenarios to try and avoid two drivers screamed into the distance, wore the cars out, you know, ran out of brakes or overheated the engines or something, and we came away with egg on our faces.
At motor racing's grassroots, McLaren's tactics have caused nothing but consternation. This is Donington Park and the first Formula 3 race of the new season. This is where the next generation of Grand Prix world champions can be found. Nigel Mansell, Jackie Stewart, Damon Hill all cut their teeth here in the pit lanes of Formula 3. For these young drivers making their way in racing, winning is all or nothing. It's difficult to understand being asked to move over, even for a teammate, they say.
So what's the general race ethic here at Formula 3 then? It's
win at all costs, dog eat dog, you know, everybody for himself, I think.
Everybody else is driving in the same manner. They all want to win, and that is what you have to accept. Nobody gives an inch, and nobody expects it.
But Jackie Stewart, who runs a team in Formula 3 and Formula 1, says it isn't that simple.
For a team, it's enormously important to win as many World Championship points as possible. And if they had raced against each other, there's a real chance that they could have stretched the elastic and the machinery a little too fast or too hard. So it was a very logical thing to do. As a team owner, I can say that. But nevertheless, I can understand the disquiet amongst the spectators.
And if the Grand Prix does have a lesson to learn from Australia, it could well be that race fans really do want to see genuine winners of genuine races.
They want to see the best man win. They don't want to see someone pull over and let someone else win. I suppose I support the majority of motorsport people. A race is a race, it's the first one past the line.
All eyes will be on another winner's podium this weekend, the Grand Prix in Brazil. The question there is whether victory will have been earned on the track or in some secret carve-up between team and drivers. Norman Rees, News at 10 at Donington Park.
There's live coverage of the Grand Prix on ITV over the weekend.